We are good to start, Kaustav?
Yes, Divyesh, all good.
Yeah. So, welcome everyone once again to the webinar from Gumlet about how to protect your video. So, in this webinar, we will cover mostly functional things. So, what are the ways someone can steal your videos? Which specific features would help you prevent against different kind of thefts, and how you could implement those features for your Gumlet implementation anywhere. And we'll not get into super technical details about any of the features. So if you have any questions like that, you could ask our support chat or chat in this Zoom call or community, and our team will answer your technical questions there. But again, this webinar would give you a very uh, high level overview of what are the different video protection available, and how they will help you protect your video IP against various kinds of threats. And after every chapter, I would pause for a second. So please feel free to um, write down your question or unmute and ask your questions, and we'll answer them. So today we'll be covering three main parts of video protection uh, landscape. First, we would of course start with what does video protection mean? How can your videos be stolen? What are the different technologies which provide different levels of protections against video content theft? And how what are the best and easiest ways to get them implemented for your Gumlet video implementation? So without further ado, we'll get started. So yeah, let's first start with how can anyone steal your videos. So I'll show you an example. So there's this video on Gumlet homepage, and if you just do a simple inspect element, it will show you some code. If you go to the iframe, then this is the source of the video. Now this URL is all anyone needs to take this video and embed it on their website and show it as their own content. So that may seem like a very easy way to steal videos. Apart from that, there is a anyone can just play your video and record the screen with lots of apps. There are Chrome plugins available. There are apps on all kinds of mobile, desktop, Mac devices which can record the screen. And once the screen record is on and video is playing, they can use that, edit it, make it their own, remove any logos and watermark, etc. And third one is someone can simply download your video content. And if someone does that, they would have a very simple MP4 link that they will be able to use it. I'll show you that example just right away. So now this video is playing, and all anyone needs is to just copy this URL from video. Let's say, just give me a second. So yeah, all anyone needs to do is copy this request URL. I may need a refresh. So first of all, yeah, this shows in a way that it is difficult to get started with, but yeah, it's not that difficult as well. So I can just go to the network tab, see where the data is coming from. Is this the right one? Yeah, I can just copy this URL, put it in a new network tab. The video will start playing here. I can do a right click and save video as, and I have this video as an MP4 file, which I can edit and play. So just to address what Jake asked earlier, this video is in HLS format. That's why you need to go to the network URL and then find the MP4 file where this video is playing. Otherwise, if it was MP4, the URL which I showed here would itself be an MP4 URL, and it would be very easy to just copy that video. So yeah, these are the three main ways anyone can sort of steal your videos either by embedding, which is the worst case because then they are also consuming your streaming bandwidth and streaming data. It's also known as hot linking, if that's a more popular term for uh, images that are stolen from some other website and you're using it. So yeah, that's the part about how to steal any video. Any questions on that? Any questions on how to uh, any questions about what kind of videos can be stolen or not stolen? I'll pause for a few sec before moving on. Okay, yeah, so if copying your video is that easy, then what are the different ways in which you can prevent your videos from being stolen? So first is, of course, you would want to protect video sharing. So let's say if your video is something which is behind a paywall, or it's an IP that legally you are not supposed to let anyone else have it, then you would want that someone is not able to go to the inspect element and just copy the URL. So that's one thing. Another relevant use case is that you want the video to be played only for the logged in users or only for the users who have paid for that video. So that is another use case. Third use case is you want to discourage screen recording. Now, there's a very conscious choice here. There is actually no way to prevent someone from recording your video. I mean, the worst case, someone can just play your video in a laptop and record it with an iPhone. That still works. So there's no way to prevent it, but there are ways to discourage it. We'll discuss that. Uh, of course, there is one way to prevent video download, which will stop anyone from just copying your URL and saving that video. And that is the DRM, the digital rights management. I think that's the most popular feature because of which I guess a lot of us are here today. And the third one is again related to licensing and legal protection, where you don't want your videos to be played in the countries outside which you don't have license. So let's say you have a show which you have a streaming license for only your country, and you don't want that video to be played from your website to any other country. Then that is also a sort of restriction that and or protection that you may need on your video content. So these are the type of video protections as restrictions you will be covering today. Um, Again, I would pause for a few seconds if anyone wants to add any topics to this or have any questions about any of this video protections before we move ahead. Okay, so again, we'll start to get into different video protection technologies, and as always, feel free to ask any questions at any time. Uh, Stop me, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. So first and very easy to implement video protection that you would have is allowed referrers. So what allowed referrers does is that, as I showed here, that someone can just copy the iframe embed URL and embed it in their own website. Allowed referrer would prevent it. What allowed referrer would do is whenever a video is streamed somewhere, it will check what is the website domain in which this video is being streamed. If that website domain is not in your list of allowed domains where this video should play, then Gumlet would just not stream your video. And that's the easiest way to prevent your videos getting embedded in any other place. And I'll show you how easy it is to get. So all you need to do is go to dashboard, edit a collection in which your videos are there, and go to the video protection tab. This is what it looks like. I have a collection. I click the edit button on that collection, and I'm on the screen. I chose the video protection tab, and I have a list of domains. I can add a list of domains where this video will be allowed to play. So let's say I add www.gumlet.com and hit the save button. then the specific video would only play when someone is requesting it from gumlet.com, and it will not play on, let's say, google.com or any other website. Um, um, so we have a question from Jack here that what if it's a direct link to the hosting server, and can this URL be blocked and only allow some other domains, preventing a user to do what you have done by playing the file directly where it's hosted? Um, hosting server, Jack, is always going to be Gumlet's hosting server. So and whenever a video is added to a mobile app, or whenever a video is added to a website, and someone hits the play button, when the request comes to Gumlet, the request has an information added by the browser or added by the app about from which domain this video is being requested. And Gumlet would detect that, hey, hosting server in all case of thousands of videos is always going to be Gumlet, but a video being played is on, let's say, yourdomain.com. And if yourdomain.com is in the list, Gumlet would stream the data. If it is some other domain.com, then Gumlet would not stream the data. So it is based on the HTTP request that Gumlet gets while any video is played, and we'll check it against your list of allowed referrals. And that's how this would work. Okay, so the question is if you can blacklist Gumlet or not on a whitelist. Yes, that is definitely possible. If you only add, let's say, I'll change this to yourdomain.com. If you only add the yourdomain.com as allowed referrer, and in that case, that video will not play on gumlet.com. It will only play on this domain and not on any other domain. Okay, I think that answers the question. So yeah, this is very straightforward, very simple, very basic way to enable some sort of video protection for all of your videos. Does not require any coding at your end, in front end or back end. Just Gumlet dashboard, adding this setting does the trick. So I'll move on to the next one, but always feel free to ask the question about anything that was covered previously. Um, a few more guests have joined. So I'll just repeat for them. This call is being recorded, and the recording of this webinar plus the deck and all the relevant documentation will be made available to you via email, and it will also be available on our Gumlet community. So don't worry if you miss something, it will always be there. The next one is password protection. Now, password protection wouldn't work for marketing videos. So let's say if you have a product explainer that is on your website, you don't want to use password protection for that. But let's say you have some videos that are only available to select users, or some videos, let's say if someone pays for the subscription or pays for a view, that video is allowed to them, and you don't want to do any coding at your end or any technical implementation at your end, then this is another very simple way to enable some sort of video protection, which is password protection. So every time a video is played, Gumlet will ask in a field that, hey, please enter a password. Much like when someone logs into their email, they get asked for a password. Same would happen at time of video. Now, the password you would have to share with the user individually. That is something which is not automated currently in any way. But as long as the user has the right password, the video will play. If the password is not correct, the video will not play. Enabling this is again very easy. You could just go to your video CMS, select the video which you want to protect with password. On the right hand side panel, you would see a video privacy tab. Video privacy, by default, all of the videos are public, but you could select it to be password protected, add a strong password, and save. Once this setting is implemented, then the video will only play if the right password is added. So yeah, this is password protection. Uh, any questions on this? Next, we will move into uh, more robust or uh, more complicated video protection technology, for a lack of better words, which uh, may require some additional coding or implementation at your end. So I'll again pause for a few seconds here in case anyone has any questions. Please feel free to add it to the chat or unmute and ask, or we will move to the next video protection technology. Okay, so the next one is signed URL, which sort of works like password protected videos, but it's more advanced. So password protected videos have one single password for that video. That means if you share that password with a user, and if that user decides to share it with the world, that anyone else can access that video with that password. But what signed URL does is that each and every view would need a secure token. That means if I'm the user who has access to this video and I view it once, then I log out from the platform, and then I come back again after 1 hour and wants to view that video, whatever secure token that was generated for me the last time wouldn't work, and a new token would automatically be generated for me, and I would be able to view the video. But let's say, I do that trick where I go to the network tab and I copy the video URL and paste it on my own some other pirated website. That video would stop working after some time, because all of these secure tokens are also time sensitive. So if let's say your video duration is 2 minutes, it's a 2 minute product explainer video, and you set the secure token to be, let's say, 6 minutes. Someone wants to view the video 3 times. After 6 minutes, that video URL will no longer work. So even if someone embeds that video on their website, that video will stop playing after whatever time you have set the tokens to expire. So yeah, this is a very good way to ensure that the video is only viewed by the authenticated users. So authentication will happen at your end, whether the user is logged in or whether the user is subscribed to view that video, or whatever other mechanism is there for authentication of the users. So authentication and limited duration. Signed URL offers both of this protection, and to get it, first you would need to go to your video collection, edit the video collection, go to video protection tab, enable signed URL, and after enabling signed URL, once you save the setting, um, let me just do it here. So a token will be generated in that protection. Yeah, so this token is generated. Now I would, in this token, you would have to implement in your user authentication module. So in your user authentication module, you would have the playback URL, this token, that is what will come from the video protection tab. And then this code will be generated, and that's how the signed URL will be generated. So there is uh, no simple no code way to enable signed URLs, but there is a with code way to enable signed URL, and which is very robust, and a lot of big companies, even like Netflix, would be using the same technology to ensure their video protection. So that's how the signed URL works. We have okay, we have a questions on which ones can be combined and which ones not. I think uh, if there is an exception, we would mention, but otherwise, most of this technology can be layered on top of each other to ensure your videos have maximum protection. So based on your needs of what all uh, restrictions you want to put on your video, or what all protections you want your videos to have, you could use all of these multiple video protection tech together. Again, I'll take a few seconds. Of course, yeah, we have another questions. So we have a question from Khalid that if the time restriction is for a few months, it can be generated from platform and it needs to be generated via code. So someone from Gumlet tech team or support team can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Any signed URLs can be generated from the platform. All the signed URLs are generated with code. Using this kind of code, and this token time is the time that you would give and how much time it would get expired.
Yeah, hi.
Someone else,
Can you hear me?
yeah, yes, I can hear you. Yes, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
so is there a way, if not signed URL, but any other way to generate a video URL which is valid for a longer duration of time, let's say a few days to few months, uh, not not the signed URL, or any other way, if there is possibility to do that, may not be a signed URL, but like we want a no-code solution. Our clients don't have any website in which they will like kind of generate this.
Okay, so we would take this request. What you mentioned is very much possible. Uh, Same signed URL would work for that kind of solution. I'm not sure if we have a way to do it from dashboard. If I think someone was trying to ask a question or explain it, please go ahead. Okay, so I heard from the product team that we would add this to our roadmap. We would share a link to our roadmap with you in this chat. So Anshul, you could share the roadmap link, add it to the roadmap and share the roadmap link. You could follow that topic, and as soon as we release it, you would have that option available.
And one final question. So it's simple Python or Node code. So I can take this code and generate the URL myself. But let's say I set the timeout to be 100 days, right? So I can specify any value in seconds there, and that would work. And that signed URL will stay active for that much period of time, right? So like generating a URL with this code looks really easy. I can do it offline as well.
Yeah. So I'll ask Yash, who is our video engineer. Yash, any restriction on the token lifetime?
No, there is no such restriction on token lifetime. You can set it as per your requirement.
Okay, so yeah,
Right. Thank you.
that's possible to do.
Thank you.
So we have a question from Jack that if the token will renew itself for the authenticated and allowed user, or is there a way to automate that? Yash, could you cover that? The token would renew itself?
Yeah, sure. So you can write that kind of automation on your side of platform, but from our side, we usually don't do that because there can be a multiple way to authenticate user placed on your platform. But yeah, you can do that according
So
to your
some
requirement.
modification in this code would enable automated authentication on their platform level.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so Jack, again, I think we can help you out with that. We would have we would be able to share an example of the way in which you could automatically renew the token for a logged in user. We have definitely done it for a few of our enterprise clients, and we would be able to help you do that, but it would depend on how you are authenticating your users. So I think over support chat or email, we would be able to cover this topic for you. Okay. So again, I'm taking a pause and going on a slight tangent because I'm waiting for more questions if there are any. But I would just like to highlight that in all of the previous methods up until signed URL, uh, there is no way to prevent screen recording, or there is no way to prevent video download. Even if someone has a signed URL, for duration in which the signed URL is valid, someone can just copy it and download the video. So with much the same way, just go to the network tab, see which request is being hit and where the data is coming from, take that URL and use it to download the video. So far, these two things are not covered. They are the ones coming next, but just wanted to highlight for a better understanding of which protection technology does what for you. So I'll again move on to the next one, which is dynamic watermark. So dynamic watermark, what it does is that it displays some personally identifiable information about a user on the video when it is played. So by design, it will so here is a screenshot where there's some example of video is being played and the email ID of the user who is playing the video is getting displayed. So, and this information will move around in the video. So it will not be at the same place. Otherwise, it would be very easy to just screen record and remove that part, but it will move around. So even if someone is doing screen recording, what would happen is their personally identifiable information will be on the video. So let's say they decide to use this recorded video and uh, pirate it in some way. Then whatever the pirated video will have that personally identifiable information, and then based on that information, you could take the steps that are necessary against such kind of uh, malpractice. And what it would do is it would discourage your user from screen recording your video, because they can see that their personally identifiable information is on the screen, and there is a potential repercussions for doing this. Uh, and to implement this, you could go to edit collection and again go to any collection, edit it where you want this feature to be enabled, go to the player settings, and in player settings there is this dynamic watermark. You can just enable it and save the settings, and once this is done, this is a no code way, there is a no code way for this. Once you just do this, what would happen is that any viewer's IP address will be displayed on the video. Now, the question might arise that what can we do with just IP address? IP address is not that useful, but in most uh, systems, even like a no-code system like WordPress, you would have information about if a user signed into your platform, which IP they signed it from. So even if it's just an IP based on your logs of user signing in, you would be able to identify which user tried to record your video and share it with someone. So that is one way. We do provide one more way of adding dynamic watermark, which is not a no-code way. In this way, there is a few steps where you need to add a JavaScript and you need to do some player configurations. And if you do this, we could display specific information. So instead of IP address, it could be user's name, it could be user's email ID, email address, whatever information you choose to pass here. But that information would need to be added to this script via a variable from your end. And we also have customizations available in terms of what you could configure the way in which the user information is displayed, overlaid on the video. Now, another common questions we get on this is, what if someone goes to inspect element and just finds the element which is overlaying this information and just deletes it? We have taken protection precautions in our code or player code from our end, that if someone removes the overlay, the video will stop playing, or no further video will come, or uh, that whole player will go blank. So it is a robust way uh, to ensure that uh, a user's personally identifiable information is always on display over the video. So yes, yes, Jack, um, you are correct. As long as the signed URL is valid, someone could share it and it would work. So that's why, yes, if you are going for a implementation, we would give you the sign. We would be able to do a signed URL which can be refreshed while the video is playing. Is that correct? Yes. Let's say it's an hour-long video. We could refresh the signed URL while the video is being played.
Actually, we can't do that. The sign URL, the duration, minimum duration should be equal to the duration of the video. It should not
Oh,
be less
okay,
than the video
okay,
duration.
okay. Yes, understood. So, yeah, for the duration of video, after that we can immediately refresh it.
Yeah.
Got that. Any questions on the dynamic watermark? The next topic that we are going to cover is DRM, or digital rights management. Just a note on dynamic watermarking while we wait to move on to DRM is that uh, what dynamic watermark does is something even DRM can't help you with. So of course, there are ways to still get a video recording. So let's say I play a DRM protected Netflix show on my laptop, and I put a very high resolution camera and record the video. That is still possible. But if that video is dynamic watermark protected, then that's the only way to discourage that kind of screen recording. And yeah, so dynamic watermark is something that does something very unique that no other technology provides. Um, okay, so Kenneth, yes, that specific domain we have covered. That was the very first thing we covered. That was allowed referrers. You would have access to the video recording, and you could go back to that. So allowed referrer, Gumlet provides that does the same trick where the video will only play if uh, it is your domain which is allowed, and will not play on any other domain. Yeah, no worries. We are, I think, running very fast, so we have uh, enough time for Q&A in between. Okay, so yeah, Jack, to answer your questions, we will move right into the DRM technology. So yes, so why any of the technologies we discussed so far did not prevent video download is the simple reason how internet works. When someone is visiting your website and you send the data from your server to them, the data is theirs. The data is on their device, and if the information is about how to display a video or how to display an image or anything, uh, there is no way to stop the user from saving that information, and essentially they have received a video. So DRM, or digital rights management, is what big IP protection companies worked with big tech and came up with to prevent this kind of dilemma, to protect the IP. So what DRM does is that it encrypts your original content. So your video is encrypted when you implement a DRM. And the key to decrypt the video, the key to unlock this video and make it viewable is within your devices. So when the DRM is used to encrypt a video, there are two kinds of keys. One is Apple FairPlay, which covers all the Apple devices, and there is Google Widevine, which covers Chrome, and since now Microsoft Edge is also Chromium based, that and other devices. So what happens is that these big companies decided that, hey, we will provide a key, and if you use that key to encrypt your content, then our operating system or our hardware will ensure that access to this information is not available to the outside applications. So the operating system has the key to decode it. So they can decode it and show it to your authenticated viewers like it is meant to be. But any outside application like a screen recording or something like that will not have access to the data. So if you try to take a screenshot of a DRM protected video, then the operating system would just show a black screen there instead of the actual video content, and same would apply to the video recording. Interestingly, what it also prevents is that the way I showed that I could just grab a URL from the network and open it in my Chrome and hit the download button, and I would have the entire video. Now in this case, if you do that with a DRM protected video, yes, the video will get downloaded. There's no way to prevent it, but the downloaded video will be encrypted, and unless there is a user authentication done by your website, that video will never be played. So it will be just a bunch of binary gibberish that no one can use. So DRM is essentially the only way to prevent unauthorized downloads of your video. And how to implement DRM, that's why it becomes a bit more technical and a bit more complicated. So that's a topic I'll get back to you in the next few slides. So let me just put a picture to the long wordy explanation that I gave earlier. So how it works is that you as a content creator would register with Google and Apple to get your encryption keys. You'd share those encryption keys with Gumlet. And whenever you upload a video that you want DRM protected, Gumlet would encrypt that video with the encryption keys that you provided us. And so that's a sort of lock that is put on the video now. And this lock can be unlocked with the specific decryption keys only. Now, this decryption keys will be provided by Gumlet DRM servers. So whenever someone tries to view a video, Gumlet will send them a decryption key. So Gumlet will send them a decryption key, and another decryption key will be in their hardware, be it Apple or Google, and they will then be able to play the video with those keys because they are authenticated. And any outside application, so let me just put an example. I'm playing Netflix on Safari, and then I'm trying to use a third-party software to record my screen. The third-party software does not have access to the encryption decryption keys that was provided by Gumlet or that was provided by Apple, both, and that's why they won't be able to ever access the actual visual content inside your videos. So that's a very brief overview of how DRM works. We have published a very detailed blog that goes into much more detail and covers a lot of caveats and any kind of complications that might arise due to this implementation and all. I would encourage any interested viewers to go ahead and check it out. So yeah, before we go ahead and try to implement DRM ourselves, Let's just understand what DRM can do and can't do. So in most cases, DRM would prevent screen recording of your video. Now, why is it most cases and not all cases? Because let's say you are playing Netflix in one tab on Google Chrome, and you start a Google Meet in another tab, and you try to do a screen share and select the Netflix tab. The viewers on the other end of Google Meet will be able to see the content uh, in your Netflix tab, and they might be able to record it. So that kind of roundabout way of recording is possible. Now, why it works is really how Google implemented it. There is nothing anyone else in the world can do about it. That's just how Google Chrome is made by Google, and only Google can prevent that kind of theft in future if they choose to do that. But yeah, otherwise, any third-party software which would do a high resolution, it will block it. Google Chrome, if you have used Google Meet, you would know that that kind of software, that kind of video recording would be useless in most of the cases, anyways. So yeah, so prevent screen recording in most cases. That's what DRM can do. It can ensure that even if someone downloads your video, that will not play. As I mentioned, yes, someone can take that video URL and try to download it in some way or another way, which is again a bit tricky, but they can try to do that. But the downloaded data will be gibberish and it will be useless for them. And yeah, that way video download is prevented by DRM 100%. And third thing is that it will make it very, very difficult for anyone to steal a very high resolution version of your video. So yeah, that's what DRM can do for you. What it can't do for you is prevent a very determined pirate who is like who wants to just steal your content for whatever reason. There's no way to prevent that because like all the technologies that we have, DRM also has flaws. So that's why all the Netflix shows are available in unlawful places, because someone can build a custom hardware. As I mentioned, someone could uh, that involves HDMI port and other mechanism, but it is very difficult. It's not easily accessible. So as long as you are sure that someone is not going to extreme length to prevent your videos, then DRM is the trick. Uh, and the counterpoint to that is that then for a very determined uh, hacker, or for the lack of better word, there's no way to prevent your videos that we know of currently. Another one I have already mentioned, that if someone is sharing a screen via Google Meet, someone is it would still share your videos. So that kind of thing is possible. And another restrictions of sort that comes from DRM is that it will not play on all devices. So what happens is that um, I mentioned, right? Apple has a key that is in all Apple devices. Google has a key that is in all Google Chromes and all Android phones. Um, so the dedicated actors have stolen the old keys from even these big giant companies in past. So every 10 year or so they change the keys. So any devices that are very outdated uh, are insecure for this video to play, because if you share the new key with them, it again falls into the bad actors, and then everyone else's DRM protected videos are useless. So what happens is those old devices, the video just won't play. This again, you might have experienced the same thing with popular OTT player as well. So, Jack, in most cases, the video will stop working. If there are old OS or browser, in most cases, the videos will not work. Uh, so, Zoom. So, Yash, could you take this question? Will the screen share work on Zoom? I think it won't work on Zoom app, but from browser Zoom it might work. But I think Yash is the best person to answer that.
Yeah, sure. So the screens sharing, it depends on the device which you are sharing the screen from. So if you are using iOS devices, then it's prevented. If you are using Android device or Chrome browser, then it depends on the device which you are using. So there is like not a surety that it would prevent or not prevent.
Okay. Uh, yes. So yeah. So the Google implementation is a bit weird, and Apple 100% prevents it. Yes. Yes. Feel free to pick up the questions and answers from the chat, and
Yeah.
don't need to
So
wait for me to
Jack,
rank you.
Jack, you're right. Apple would prevent screen sharing and recording if you are playing DRM protected videos on your Safari browser or any iOS devices.
Okay, so Khalid, I'll cover your question in how to implement DRM. Feel free to keep asking questions. This is just in the interest of time. I would cover how to implement DRM with Gumlet. For that, I would go back a few slides. So yeah, so step one is to get your own license key. So as a content creator, you need to follow the process with Google Widevine DRM, and you need to follow the process with Apple Fairplay DRM and get your own keys. Uh, Many a times it would happen with some other vendors in the market, which will not ask you to get your own key, which is inherently less secure way of doing it, because by the guidelines provided by this DRM uh, vendors, you are supposed to have dedicated keys to protect your video. So with Gumlet, most of the time, outside of some testing scenarios, when you implement in production, we would insist that you get your own DRM keys, and Gumlet would use your only DRM keys to encrypt your own videos, and will not use someone else's, or your keys will not be used by someone else. So that's that. Uh, then step two is to provide us with that DRM keys, and because the nature of sensitive security required in this is DRM keys are a secret. There's no way to do it from dashboard, or there's no way to automate it. In case of DRM implementation, you need to work with our tech team. We'll get these keys added to your account so that your videos are encrypted by that. And third one is to implement the access token generation and authentication on your front end. For that, we have several guides of how DRM works with different platforms, and how to implement that, along with more topics that we just covered, implemented in more details. Even we offer offline licensing. So if you want DRM protected videos to be downloaded, we offer those kind of integrations as well. Again, our support and customer integration team will guide you for every step of the way to get the best possible implementation done. And we also offer a sort of no code way to implement this, which you can enable by going to edit. Sorry. So yeah. Uh, Yeah, here. If you enable DRM protected videos to play with the player, uh, Gumlet player on web will do the authentication bit for you. and play your DRM protected videos without much front end custom code. So yeah, okay, I think Khalid's questions got answered. Uh, yeah, but feel free to keep asking questions. I This is the last slide of the presentation. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to cover one more, and then the floor is open for Q&A exclusively. So I'll just go ahead and finish this one so that the presentation part of the webinar is complete. So the last one is geo-blocking. So geo-blocking is also important if, as I mentioned, if you have a license to play certain content only in certain countries, or without license, you just want that uh, something is very specific to your domain and you want it uh, available within restricted geographies. Geo-blocking helps there. What it does is that it detects the IP address, and based on the IP address, it tries to detect the geographical location where the video is being requested from. And if that geographical location is allowed by you on the dashboard, then the video will play, or otherwise the video will not play. And this is again very simple to implement from the dashboard side. Unfortunately, I can't show you how to do it right now because this feature is under maintenance due to some CDN migrations that we are doing. This feature is basically provided by the CDN, or the content delivery network, and that uh, uh, is under maintenance. So I don't have it right now, but rest assured, this feature is available with Gumlet, and yes, it is possible to do geo restrictions as well. So yeah, that's about the end of the presentation of the webinar. Webinar is not over. We'll answer your questions before ending the webinar. But yeah, we have had 4 other webinars before this, which cover interesting topics like how to customize your player, or how to launch your video channel, or how to implement video analytics to capture engagement metrics, and what your users are doing while they're viewing your video without any code. So all of those webinars are available on recording on our community platform. These links are here for your quick reference. Yes, so for those of all who joined so far, thank you very much. And now the Q&A starts. So it's a dedicated time for Q&A. Yes, for Google Widevine, do we need to purchase anything? For Apple Fairplay, we need to purchase a Apple developer license, which is a yearly license. And could you cover that part? What is the cost on the Gumlet client side?
Yeah, sure. So for Widevine DRM, users do not have to purchase any kind of thing. They just have to fill up a form, which my colleague just posted on this chat. For Fairplay DRM, you have to get the users have to get the Apple developers account, which cost $100 per year. It's not just for Fairplay DRM, but it covers a lot of things. So you can publish your iOS apps and all, and using this
Okay,
developers account.
okay. Um, okay. Now we'll wait for a few more seconds for more questions. Yeah, and thank you very much for all the questions asked so far. And, makes the webinar more fun and interactive, and helps us understand better what what areas we might need to cover better from our dashboard and documentation. So yeah, thank you so much for questions so far. Jack, you could unmute and ask the questions. We could clarify that in a better way. Okay, the combination of security features. So correct me if I'm wrong, Yash, but the highest possible level of combination would be allowed referrals, DRM, and dynamic watermark. These three things that would cover the highest possible protection. Yash, or can anything more be added to this?
Yeah, we can add a signed URL as well. It would be
But
like
if you are
most
doing
possible.
4 code, you are implementation of DRM, then the signed URL is already part of it, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So I think DRM plus referral restriction and dynamic watermarking would do the job. So it would be the most
Mm,
protective way to go with.
okay. So yeah. So just to reiterate the answer, the best way if you're implementing DRM with coding on your authentication module and front end, then allowed referral, dynamic watermark, and DRM is the way. If you are using no code for dynamic DRM, then you might need to code for the signed URL. So if everything else is no code, signed URL needs to be code. So to achieve highest level of video protection, there is always some code that is involved. Yeah, yes, this might be an interesting counter question from my side. The combination of all these three things, right? Are there any other technology which is probably not available with Gumlet, but is there in the market, or possible anything new probably which can provide any kind of video protection outside of allowed referer, signed URL, dynamic watermark, and DRM?
Yeah, so one way could we could so we have this video analytics product, so we could detect the anomalies from our video analytics product regarding the protection side. That would be the great feature to added in the future.
Oh, okay. So that would be like Netflix detecting account sharing
Yeah,
sort of
that's
thing.
yeah,
Okay,
sort of.
okay, okay. So yeah, if same user account is logging from different devices at the same time and watching the videos, then that would be sort of detected. And yeah, good one.
Sorry, how is it called? The feature?
No, we don't have that feature right
I
now.
know, but
Yeah.
what is it? I mean, I know it's to
Uh,
prevent sharing
hmm,
while the video is already played by the same
hmm,
user, so
hmm.
it can't play on multiple devices at the same time. Is that what you're talking about? To prevent
Yes.
playing
Yeah.
on multiple devices at the same time.
Yes, yes. So there is no a feature like that as a technology generally available. Like there is no brand name for it, like a DRM or a signed URL. But what my friend is referring to is that we provide this API on Gumlet Analytics. Sorry, did I misclick something? Inside data API, right? Yeah. So we provide, we collect a video analytics in terms of who is viewing your video, when they are viewing your video, and we do provide that analytics via API or dashboard as well, and one could implement a sort of check based on what user pattern should not happen based on your use case. So I just gave an example of Netflix. So in case of Netflix, you know, when the video is being streamed, it should come from one area of IP. It can't be like one IP is from one city and another IP is on city, then they're password sharing according to the Netflix new definition. So what they could do is they could fetch this video analytics data, implement some sort of restriction and authentication on their backend, and prevent that kind of use case.
That's really good to hear. I mean, you could potentially do it. I mean, if you can, then, and if it's not with a huge impact on performance, then yeah, then it may be worth doing. It's interesting. I didn't know about the analytical functions.
Yeah,
so it's good.
sure. Yeah, so it would not have a performance impact because the analytics collection is happening anyways. So when you implement Gumlet's analytics, the data of viewing patterns is being collected anyway. So the restriction of stopping a signed URL or in so how this would work is on the back end you would observe your analytical data and see if a pattern is emerging which you don't want to happen. And then when the pattern emerges, you could identify that, hey, this is the playback URL, the signed playback URL where this pattern is emerging, and you could invalidate that secure token so that video stops playing immediately or doesn't start playing.
I may have one last question, but it's a bit technical, and I don't know if I can phrase it the right way as well. So please try to understand. I want to use some layer on top of the video. So I don't want the if I don't use your own player, but instead use something like Presto Player in WordPress that allows me to change the language of the interface of the player. So I can have it in Polish, which I'm willing to use for play, stop, chapters. So the main reason why I would like to use different player is first language, to change the language, and the other thing is chapters and subtitles with the function to search through the subtitle and pinpoint exact point where. So that's what Presto Player allows. And my question would be: is it even possible to apply all the features that you discussed today, like DRM, signing, and still use a different player where I link to the video on Gumlet, or is it not doable? Do I have to then use your player or?
No. So all of these features are possible to be implemented in other players. So for example, we work with Video.js player, we work with React.js player, we work with Exo players and AV player from Apple. So these features are player independent. Now coming to the specific question of Presto players, we need to check Presto player documentation to see if they can work with the token generation. I'm pretty sure signed URL would work with Presto Player because signed URL is independent of player. It is more about video playback URL than where this video playback URL goes. So signed URL should work. For DRM, we need to check if the player supports DRM. Is that correct?
I think I may add to it because in the past I reached out to you. That was probably months ago, maybe 2 months ago. And back then, somebody from your team investigated the issue because I wasn't able to play HLS video. And somebody from your team pinpointed that the Presto Player is using old version of the HLS, .js file, and they've upgraded it. They've just, I mean, I don't know when, but recently they've upgraded it. So I think HLS is that the one responsible for it's the fragmentization, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is it for Is it for tokens as well? That's the one, or is it? Or is it not?
No, so HLS and the tokens are different, but again, we would have to check Presto Player if Presto Player supports the DRM tokens or not.
Okay, so I don't know that one.
Sure. Yash, do we have a quick answer, or you could write to the support and we'll check again and get back to you.
Yeah, so I was the person who answered Jack regarding this Presto Player. So previously, Presto Player was using a much older version of HLSJS, so they were not able to play our videos on Presto Player. But now they are supporting newer version of HLSJS, but the DRM support is still not there. So the videos which are not protected by DRM and they are using this HLS format, they would be still able to play using Presto Player, but DRM protected videos won't work on Presto Player unless the DRM support comes from the Presto Player itself.
Is there anything else, any other player for that could be implemented into WordPress that you would recommend to use with your DRM and HLS? I mean, DRM pretty much.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, lot of WordPress plugin which are used as a player currently do not support DRM. The best way we could suggest you is to use our embed code. It will come with the player and the DRM support package into a single URL. So best way to do is to use the Gumlet embed code.
I would add to that we have started translating Gumlet Player in languages. So we have French, Spanish, Mandarin, and one more language. I think it is Portuguese.
I can add Polish as well, because I've translated Presto Player, so I can.
Oh wow, that's
I can help you with that.
that would be great. That would be great. Yeah, Kaustubh, let's get this collaboration done, and let's see. So Anshul and Yash, Kaustubh from our team would coordinate with you, and we would love to get this done. That would be great. Thank you so much, Jack, for offering that.
Thank you for everything today, and I would probably reach out to your somewhere where you play where you linked to the roadmap and add my ideas, because the features, sure. I don't know if you're planning on adding chapters and maybe some time stamps to certain places of the video or something like this. Is it planned, or is it not there yet on the roadmap?
We have chapters, right, Anshul?
Yeah, we have chapters on the timeline. So you can, whenever you add chapters, you scroll through the timeline, you will see there are chapters. Like there are some markers on the timeline. So yeah, that is there.
You can add the chapters in the video from the dashboard directly.
Yes. On the right side, you can add it.
And do you have subtitles as well? Yeah, subtitle. Okay, so the only part that is missing, I guess, it was this searching through, but I could live without it, and I believe people as well, as long as chapters are there and it's translated. That's all I care about. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think we can collaborate and make it work. Glad to know that we could clear it up. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your inputs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So we'll check for one more a minute if there are any further questions from anyone else. feel free to ask them in chat. That's all the content from our side so far. Yeah, while we are waiting for more questions, so this is we recently updated our video asset page, and now video asset page is much more streamlined, and everything you would want to do with a video is available in one place. So you have publishing options, so like embed core. We now also support embedding inside emails. So yeah, that might be useful for video marketing. Then the thumbnail, it was here and it was difficult to notice and use. So the thumbnail is now available and a dedicated side panel. Thank you, Paul, for uh, the kind words. The subtitles are easier to upload. Chapters are easier to make. Call to actions. Earlier, the call to actions didn't have much configurations. Now the call to actions have start time, end time, and color. Choose in color choosing options here. Password protection we have already covered, but we'll cover once more. Then the video download is there. So video download you could enable. This was one of the very highly requested features that we want our users to be able to download the video. So that's there, and yeah, this action just delete the asset. We'll probably add more actions there, like moving videos between collections and folders in the future. But yeah, do check out the new page, and might help streamline some of the use cases that you might have at your end. Okay, I guess we would call it a webinar, and thank you so much again, everyone, for joining. This was a great one. I really enjoyed. It was my first webinar, so yeah, thank you all, everyone, for joining and making it a wonderful experience. Looking forward to see you all again in future topic. Once more, shout out to our community where all of this webinar recording and documentation and assets are available. Feel free to comment and suggest more topics. We are always looking out for more topics that need more covering and explanation from our side. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead.
Thank you,
Bye.
Divyesh. Thank you, everyone.